Hello, everyone. This is the Parks Academy, where we discuss and celebrate all things theme parks related. We focus mainly on Disney parks and resorts in both Anaheim and Orlando. And of course, for the month of November, it is just me, Steven, again, holding down the fort because, of course, Paige and I, we had our baby about a month and a half-ish ago, I guess like about 6 weeks ago now, when this show comes out. So, yeah, 6 weeks ago when this show came out. And she's still like not trying to record and stay up late and do stuff like that, which I totally understand because I'd rather hold my son to and hang out with him. But I really want to keep this thing going, keep episodes rolling out. So while she's sleeping, I am recording, and I'm really excited to be joined with the Jungle Cruiser, or Cory, or the host of All Aboard podcast, literally whatever you know him by. That's who I'm speaking with today. We're a little bit late, like a week late, because Halloween was last week, but we're still going to talk about some spooky stuff. We're going to go over some stuff about the Haunted Mansion. We're going to talk about the movie, the ride, the overlay, just stuff like that, and just kind of geek out on our favorite things, Disney and Haunted Mansion related. So without further ado, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm super excited to have you.
Oh, I think thank you for inviting me, and it's a pleasure to be here, man. Thank you.
So I just have to start off by saying that we did your March Madness bracket back. It was like mid-March, right?
Right,
And
right, yep.
we were super excited because we came in your semifinals against Rope Drop Radio, and we lost quite decisively. But it was exciting. I didn't really know. Like, our show came out in March of 2022. And so it was still kind of like a new show. It was like a year old. Right
Yeah.
now we're pushing like a year and a half. But even just being a year old, to get all that support and to kind of like make it to those semifinals was a lot of fun in that pod battle you did. So I was really super excited to be included in that. And it was a lot of fun. But yeah, Walt's Apartment was they were a worthy winner. So it was a lot of fun. It was really cool.
Yeah. That idea came to me with I follow this it's called Podcasters of Instagram, and I follow that page. And the guy who runs that, so obviously the idea didn't come to me. I just kind of stole his idea.
Like, we all
But
do that. It's fine.
yeah, so he had this, he's like, you want to be part of a podcast battle? So like in general, I'm like, cool, yeah,
Mhm.
I'll submit me, no problem. We didn't get past the first round, so we
Yeah.
we got knocked out. I was like, oh, okay. So I decided we were going on a little bit of a hiatus like for 4 months
Mhm.
while my other co-host, he was a football coach. I was like, I kind of want to stay relevant and be still doing things, even though we're not recording. So I thought, let me take this guy's idea and let's do a Disney only
Yeah.
podcast battle. Um, so I'm actually going to do it again this March, this coming March. I'm going to just do it every
Yes.
year.
We'll want to be a part of it for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So what we did is, you didn't mention it, but our show, All Aboard the Disneyland Railroad, is it came to an end. We had
Mhm.
our last episode in August, but we are going to come out with a new show, and it's going to be called Beyond the Railroad. And
Okay.
it's going to feature movies and attractions, kind of what we're doing tonight.
Mhm.
And kind of just doing it that way once a month, because it is so hard for me to get on the mic every 2 weeks, every week, like most podcasts
Yeah,
do.
it's super hard.
I just cannot do it. Yeah. So once a month is going to be good, I think, for me. And what I'm going to do is run the podcast battle, the Disney Pod battle, through the new Instagram. So look for that.
Ooh, that's
You
a good way to
know,
get followers too.
right? It really
Smart.
is.
Yeah.
It's a good. It's and it's a
Smart.
lot of fun on my end to like. And I'm not even like that good with Adobe Premiere, but I was messing around with it, making little graphics here and there, trying to change it up between
Mhm.
each battle so that I can put it onto Instagram. And
Yeah.
all you do is vote. That's all it is. There's nothing. You don't got to do anything except hey, share with your followers. Hey, come vote for me. And
Yeah.
just whoever has the most votes at the end of the day, because it's a 24-hour story,
Yep.
moves on to the next round. And it's really really fun. It's about a week long it takes with 16 teams, give or
Yeah.
take. So
What happens when you win? Obviously, I wouldn't know because we didn't. But is it just kind of like the bragging rights, the cloud of it all, or is there just something if you get
mostly,
something or?
yeah, mostly that. And I do a lot of sublimation items like coffee mugs, license plates, whatever it is. So I
Mhm.
let the winners kind of choose. Do you want a mug? You want a coaster?
That's
License
cool.
plates. That's what
Yeah.
I've been making. And I just recently got a 3D printer. So I'm
Ooh, you
starting
should
to
do
make
like
some.
a 3D printed like tiki mugs or something like that.
They
I
have
don't know
those
how well they would
actually.
hold them, but that'd be
I
sweet.
I have seen one of those, and I was going to try and make one just, yeah, to see if it holds. It's more for
Yeah.
decoration,
Yeah.
but they
Right.
they do
Right.
have them, the Trader Sam's ones.
Yeah.
So yep.
Exactly. That's super cool. So I have to kind of expose a little bit of my ignorance here because I'm not as familiar. I mean, I listened to your show, and especially
Mhm.
like when we jumped on and we're in that battle and stuff, I was kind of checking it out here and there and stuff. But obviously, like, my time is extraordinarily limited. And so I don't really have as much time to listen to as many podcasts as I would like. And if I did listen to all of our Disney Friends podcasts, I would just never have time for anything. But what
Exactly.
was it? So you told me your new one they're going to be doing Beyond the Railroad is going to be a little bit more kind of specific about like well, it sounds like Beyond the Railroad is kind of outside the parks even in a way. So like you said, like movies
The only thing that's
that.
outside the parks really is going to be movies. So
Okay.
uh the older show was it was just a Disneyland attraction. So whether it was restaurants, rides, restaurants. So
Yeah.
each episode we would get on the railroad and we would take it to a different part of the Disneyland resort, talk about it, and then park the railroad back on Main Street until the next episode. So this one's
That's
going to be
super
more.
cool.
We're going to start off with the ones that were attractions first, then turned movie, and then kind of go from there. Because a lot of the attractions were movies anyway. So
Yeah.
we'll get into all those later. So it'll be the first 9 or 10. I think there's 9 or 10. I forget which one it is
Mm.
that were attractions first, then turned movie.
Yeah.
So we'll do that and kind of, like I said, beyond the railroad. So we're going to be on the railroad, but then also take it outside and talk about movies that have to do with that attraction. So it's in the pre-production early stage. I don't really know how it's going to go, but I mean,
Uh-huh.
I definitely love podcasting. It's just
Yeah.
like you said, your time is limited,
Hmm.
and no pun intended with the railroad, but it's still I want to do it. I just needed to take a break,
Yeah,
catch
I
up with
get
some things.
that. I totally get that. I mean, like when Paige and I started this show, it was um a big part of what we were doing was just trying to do something that we thought was fun. Like we like going to Disney, but I wouldn't call us Disney adults by any stretch of the imagination, primarily because we only go like maybe once a year.
Mhm.
And we're not those people that are there every day, like waiting in lines for everything all the time. But we really enjoy it and it's fun and the community's interesting and exciting. So for us, it's like we just kind of started off with just chit chatting about whatever, doing like this or that, trivia quiz stuff, and it just sort of evolved over time into like more history of the parks and history of different areas. Like we just wrapped up like last month the World Showcase series where we had like 13 episodes and a lot of amazing guests on it and stuff. So yeah, that's really cool. I feel like everyone kind of has their own niche and it's a lot of fun to see what people do and to kind of get an idea of like what works for them and bringing in kind of all different angles of fandom for like whether it's Disney parks or films or restaurants or whatever, as opposed to just like news, like a news ticker show. Because there's so much else that you can talk about and bring in. It's a lot of fun.
I'm big on the no news thing because it's like
Oh
I
my
still want the
gosh,
show to be
yeah.
relevant in 10 years. It's like, oh, that
Hmm.
news was happening 10 years ago. I don't. That doesn't make sense. And
Yeah,
then
we
yeah.
we did a series on like D23 at one point, and it was fine. But then at one we wrapped up one of the episodes. We both looked at each other and we're like, was that good? Like, was that anything, or was that just like nothing? Because it was just like a response thing, and I'm like, we might as well just have a YouTube channel if we're gonna do that. So, speaking of rides that were turned into movies, I've been wanting to talk with somebody about the Haunted Mansion film since I saw it. Now, I did see it for the first time on Disney Plus like recently,
Okay.
um, because I just didn't get to see it in theaters. It was either that or Oppenheimer or Barbie, and I chose Oppenheimer. My wife chose Barbie, and neither one of us chose Haunted Mansion. So we kind of because of like how things were with us, we just each individually went to our own thing and
Yeah.
sort of divided and conquered. But yeah, I finally saw it, and I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, it was directed by Justin Simeon, who's actually, he's a really, really good director. He's done like Dear White People and Bad Hair and Queer for Fear and all these other kind of like either smaller films or TV shows or whatever. But Haunted Mansion was kind of his first like big breakout. I feel like really big mainstream kind of vehicle that he did. And it definitely got mixed reactions. I mean, I'm looking at like a 6.1 on IMDb and then a 37% on Rotten Tomatoes. But the audience score is like a 75%. So it really went over pretty well with audiences, but a lot of the critics like didn't love it. And we're talking, of course, about the one with Jared Leto and Rosario Dawson and Lakeith Stanfield and Tiffany Haddish and Owen Wilson and all them. What were your thoughts on it? I'm assuming you saw it, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually did get to see it in theaters. We rarely go to the theaters these days, and it was date night. My wife and I
Mm,
was date night. We didn't take the kids, and kind of glad we didn't because there were some parts in there not for me or anything that I know would have probably scared the kids.
yeah.
Um, so I did like it. I was kind of waiting for it, and I had I don't know mid to high expectations only because it's Disney. I liked the
Hmm.
Jungle Cruise that they had just put out a couple
Yeah.
years prior. And like you said, mixed reviews. People I talk to and people that I know are like Disney. I don't know when I say historians or Disney adults
Mhm.
say they didn't like it, and they didn't like Jungle Cruise either. And I'm like, well, I liked. They're both. Um, I liked the action. I like the. I'm a big sound guy, and so the sounds were great.
Mhm.
Story was great, but yeah, like you said Jared Leto earlier. His character, I guess that could have been just been any old buddy playing that character.
Yeah. Yes.
Um, so he was like kind of hyped as if he was going to be like a. I mean, I guess he was kind of a big part of the movie, but not as big as like I was thinking anyway.
Right.
Um, but
Right.
yeah, overall story was great. The look was great. The sound was great. Um, just overall, and I really what I really loved is the attraction tie-ins.
Mhm.
How they I don't even know how many there were. I noticed a few for
Oh, there
sure,
were
but then
so many.
yeah,
Yeah. There were so many, like, the biggest one that stood out to me was how obviously the first house, looked so much like the Disneyland version, and then when went and then some of the details are a little foggy, but when they went to the second home to go, I think they had to, like, go find his hat or something, whatever they had to go get,
right.
that was very clearly the Haunted Mansion in Magic Kingdom. So, I mean, that was just, like, one of so many. I mean, you had some that were, like, really glaring, like the Hatbox Ghost, the hitchhiking ghost, the bride, obviously, like, Madame Leota, of course,
Yeah,
the
exactly. Yeah,
stretching room, stuff like that, but,
that was a
um,
cool scene. Yes,
yeah, there was a lot of cool scenes in it that I felt like were really kinda made it, a real good like a really good movie that had nods to the ride and that brought out a lot of, Disney nostalgia without being too obnoxious about it.
right,
And I agree with you, like, it wasn't, like, my all-time favorite film. Like, I certainly wouldn't go back and say, like, I would watch it over and over again, and it's, my top 4. But, I would say that for what it was good. It was well done. It was definitely scarier for kids, I'm sure, than I thought it was going to be.
right. Yeah,
Because, like, I'm comparing it to the first Haunted Mansion film with Eddie Murphy,
exactly. I said
which
me
I
too.
I
I am
felt
too.
like was just such a tragedy, that film,
Yeah,
in almost every way.
I think
Even
I
though I
think
love
the
Eddie Murphy, it was just not a great movie.
I'm the same. Eddie Murphy's great, but it's because obviously he was Donkey and Shrek, and then way before he did other things. But
Yeah.
um, with that one, I don't know if it is it did it come out too close to Pirates of the Caribbean because that was
Oh,
set the
man,
bar so high.
that is a really good question. I'm not entirely sure. So it came out in 2003, and then Pirates of the Caribbean came out in 2003. Yeah, so Curse of
Right,
the Black Pearl. And so November 26th was Haunted Mansion, and then June 28th was Pirates of the Caribbean. So you're kind of like contrasting between a huge summer hit. Like, I actually very clearly remember going to see Pirates of the Caribbean with my dad and some friends, like, back when midnight premieres were a thing. Like, now they don't
hmm
do that anymore. Now they have like 7 o'clock Thursday shows. But when you actually, like, had to go at midnight on Friday, or, like, I guess however you want to swing it, like midnight on Thursday or whatever you had to
exactly.
do,
Yep.
and you would, like, go see it at midnight, and that was kind of the whole thing. I went to go see it at that period of time, and yeah, it was like the huge summer, major hit. And then I mean, the Haunted Mansion in 2003, I mean, gosh, 13% on Rotten Tomatoes, 72% of people liked it, apparently, according to Google users. But it was kind of like this, Thanksgiving release flop, directed by Rob Minkoff, who did Mr. Peabody and Sherman, Stuart Little too. Um, yeah, so I mean, he's kind of has like strange filmography under his belt. But I don't know. I've only seen that movie once or twice, and I just was not certainly not my cup of tea.
Right. Yeah. And I actually worked at a movie theater when Pirates came out. So for
Mhm.
the whole midnight thing, it was a whole like it was actually a fun experience working those
Oh,
midnights.
yeah.
Whereas I don't remember if Haunted Mansion had one, and if they did, it doesn't ring a bell as I was there at midnight and you know crowd control type shifts that we have to work that late. But yeah, Pirates definitely. I think it came out too close. I don't know.
Yeah, it had to have. And I mean, Pirates is like such a masterful film for its time. I mean, I was never like I remember when it came out, I really, really liked it a lot. The other ones, like, I kind of take or leave. I never really, have thought much about them after the fact. Um, but yeah, I mean, they were just so masterful in the way they were done, the storytelling, kind of they did some, like, nods to the ride and some things like Easter eggs and such, but overall it was kind of like its own world building. Whereas with Haunted Mansion, I think both with 2003 and 2023, there wasn't really as much world building as much as it was kind of like this is the set and like this is what we're going to go into, because you can't really do too much of it beyond, you know, having everyone live inside of this mansion. That's the
Right.
whole like that's like the whole thing. That's the set piece, you
Yeah, and I
know.
thought of another nod to the attraction was that Omni Mover that I want to say Danny DeVito was on, that chair that kind of represented
Yeah,
the Omni Mover.
yeah. I thought
Uh,
Danny DeVito was a funny addition to that film. Such a big fan of his. I mean, he kind of just played his quirky old weird self, but
yeah,
I thought overall it was, that was pretty cool. Um, Man, I mean, I'm trying to even see like how many like how many Easter eggs there actually were, because there's just like I feel like if I get into it, I'm just gonna like go down this total rabbit hole. Um,
and I
but
kind
yeah,
of want to not right now, but I kind of want to do that actually to see. Oh, I didn't even notice that. I definitely would watch it again, and if I know
yeah.
that there's way more, I'm sure there's way more than I even noticed. That's why they're Easter eggs. You don't, I don't, I'm not a big person who notices every one of them right away. I'll have to watch it a few
Hmm.
times, but and I'll definitely do that again if I. Oh, let me check out this 15 Easter eggs or how many there are. I think I noticed like three or four. I don't even. There's
Yeah.
probably way more than that. So
Yeah, I mean, again, there's only like, I mean, I'm looking at a vulture.com article, and I just feel like if I would have to actually read into it to
yeah,
pull things. And maybe I should have done more research, but also I have a 1 month old. So what are you gonna do? Um I did feel like, the cast. So I thought the first part was really interesting because like it started off with kind of, the giving the guy when Ben Mathias or Lakeith Stanfield was giving the tour of New Orleans, and kind of being a real stick in the mud about hauntings and stuff. And then we kind of learned, spoilers by the way for people who haven't seen it,
yeah,
but we kind of find out, that his fiance or wife, I don't remember if they ever ended up getting married, but she died, and he felt like all this tremendous weight of guilt for it. And so it kind of like went into all of his um sort of falling back into a depression. And even though he was interested in like communication with the afterlife and the beyond, he was very kind of uh, closed off to it, because he didn't really want to, I guess because it didn't work for him, so he didn't really want to admit that it was something that he was after. But I felt like, I did feel like in that regard, like it was much better. Um and I'm really not trying to knock on the 2003, but it was much better storytelling than just like a dad who works too much and who needs to learn a lesson on how to like spend time with his children. Um, because that's like every movie from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, where, it's all the same storyline. It's just like a new vehicle of teaching the dads how to like actually pay attention to their children and not be on their phone the whole time.
yeah, yeah. And I forgot that was even the plot to that one, for the first one.
Yeah, he like buys him a house, or I don't remember exactly. It's like, oh no, they're realtors, I think. And so he's like all about like trying to make the next deal and sell the houses and stuff.
Oh,
And so
okay,
he ends up, they're going on a family vacation. I've only seen this movie once, by the way, the 2003 movie. And my wife wanted me to watch it. So that's how I ended up seeing it. But he takes his family on a vacation. In the meantime, he stops into this house. He's going to sell it. And that's kind of how all the hijinks sort of take off and end up going that direction.
okay.
But yeah, it does. The storytelling in the 2023 one was definitely much more captivating, I think. And I'm such a big fan of like, Rosario Dawson. She's of course was like Ahsoka. And the did you watch that by the way, Ahsoka at all? Are you into that
I
or?
didn't watch Ahsoka, no, but I
Mhm.
did, and I have to catch up. It's one of those things where you mentioned earlier, like there's the time is limited. I definitely
Yeah.
watched the first two seasons of The Mandalorian. I
Hmm.
haven't seen Book of Boba Fett or even the fourth season or third season of Mando. I have not seen those yet.
Okay.
I will eventually get to those. I have nothing. I just don't
Yeah, I hear
time,
you.
you know.
I totally hear you.
And that's why, I know, and I appreciate you, like you being flexible for this too, because I was like, "Oh, I can't do it tonight. Can't do it tonight." I'm like, I want to do it. I don't want to be that guy who's always canceling, but there is a legit, like, I just can't.
I get it.
You know, but
I 100%. And if you need to bail halfway through,
no, I'm not. I'm not.
just let me know.
It's no, it's all good. Tonight, I told the wife, I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna record tonight, and you know, please put the kids to bed, after dinner and
There
all
you
that."
go. Yeah,
So
perfect.
she's gonna do that, and I'm in Arizona. I know you're in Baltimore, so it's the 3 hour
Arizona. Okay,
difference
cool.
until tomorrow. The daylight savings time kicks in for you
Yeah.
guys. So
Yeah. My wife was telling me like daylight savings doesn't matter anymore because we have kids. So it's like every night's a bad night of sleep.
I honestly don't think
Um,
it matters as it is,
I
personally.
don't I don't think so.
Like stick to 2 hours. So California and you're full east, right? Baltimore's you're 3 hours. It's
Full East,
almost
yeah. So we're that
11
3 hour time
o'clock.
difference. So
Yeah,
it's, but I mean, I stay up late anyway, so it doesn't really, never has
right.
made a difference for me as far as, recording goes. I prefer to stay up late to do stuff like this anyway, because then it's like everything's put away, the dishes are done, the dogs have gone to the bathroom, like everyone's settled, and I can just like actually think about it. And then afterward, I can record, like edit it and do whatever I need to do. And,
That's what it is.
it works out really well for me, actually. A
Especially when
little,
you have kids. Yeah, it's
oh my
like
gosh, yeah.
anytime I wanted to
100%.
go do something, I'm like, oh, I know it's midnight, but I'm still fixing my car or whatever it is. I remember one time that was a specific thing. I was like, it's
Mhm.
midnight, but this is the only time I get to do what I'm about to do. And I needed the light. It was a weird, I felt weird doing it, but I was like, I can't do this any other time.
Yeah, no, it
Yeah.
makes sense. That's me all the time. Like I, yeah, that's me all the time. So let's talk about this, because I mean the movie is like, I'm not like a movie review podcast, so I'm
Right.
super happy to bounce around wherever. Are you Does your family like go to Disney often? I'm assuming that Disneyland, of course, would be your home park in this situation, being in Arizona.
Correct. Yeah. Like you said, you mentioned earlier, I'm not a Disney adult either, even though we do these
Hmm.
podcasts, it might seem like we are. So in the office, I'm the Disney SME, if you will. But when I look at some of these Instagram pages, I'm like, I'm nothing. But
Yeah,
once a
exactly.
year, give or take, we
Mm,
didn't do the family trip this year. However, I did get to go to Adventureland Day in March solo from the family, and I'm gonna,
that's cool.
I'll go again in March this next year.
Hmm.
We are planning. Well, we're in the beginning stages of planning because the tickets for children, at least at Disneyland, I don't know if it's both Disney World and Disneyland, are $50 for the day for one park.
Whoa.
Um, so we're gonna try and do that one of the days at Disneyland, and then another day Legoland or something like that. So that's in like the pre
Yeah,
stages
cool.
of planning for early next year because you can't
Hmm.
use them until January. So yeah, we get to go. We probably get to go once a year or once every year and a half as a family. So not
Yeah.
all that often. We're about 6 hours away driving.
Hmm.
So
That's actually, so I grew up in the San Francisco area. So I was about the same, about 6, 7 hours away
mhm,
north, but instead of, going out
right.
west.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's weird. We're not actually not going. So 2023, we were not going at all. Because we just weren't able to do it. Like we were expecting our second baby, and then we actually went for our baby moon on our first child in 2021. We went,
Okay.
and it was just a miserable experience for
Oh,
Paige, especially because she was like pregnant and tired, and it was just, even if you're trying to relax, you still have to do so much. We just
right.
went to two parks, and we tried to keep it kind of easy, but it was just next to impossible to even pull off. So we ended up not going this year, and we're not going to go next year until December. So it's going
Okay.
to be like almost 2 years and 2 months since we go, which is kind of a long stretch for us, but we're also in that like early family period, so it's forgivable.
Right. Yeah, it definitely is. I think I'm trying to think if I missed the only time I ever missed like a full calendar year was the COVID year and some change when
Yeah.
the park was closed. But we definitely, like you said, we went. My wife was pregnant
Mhm.
and she didn't get to do much. So
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't
I
it?
don't want to say I had to, but I had to ride everything with my daughter. I loved it, by the way. So, not saying, yeah, I have to do this. No, I was awesome. Felt bad for my wife because she couldn't ride much. So when it came time to it,
Exactly
when
right.
after the twins were born,
Mhm.
I we left them with her sister for a couple of days. We took our daughter. I said,
Mhm.
go on whatever you want. If you want to do some solo rides with her, I'm
Yeah,
all
there you
for
go.
it. And she didn't really want to. She wanted to, we all went on as a family on these attractions, but it was like,
Yeah.
it's so much more fun taking your kids than I ever imagined. It's awesome taking the kids to Disneyland.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. We took our daughter when she was like 9 to 10 months old for the first time.
Mhm.
So we actually were fortunate enough that we didn't actually miss the COVID year, because we went January in 2020 to Disneyland together. Because I would really wanted to go see Galaxy's Edge. We did that.
Right, right.
And then we went in 2021 for our baby moon. And then we went in 2022 with our daughter. And she was really little, like she was literally like 9 months old, but it was a blast. I mean, it was different. And there was things about it that were more tiring and more challenging, but overall it was just like an experience that, you just can't duplicate it. It's Going
Yeah.
with kids is just so much fun. And I mean, even though she was so little, her face and everything was just like so magical, like being able to experience it with her and through her. So definitely going next year is going to be a whole, um, an entirely different sort of experience because we'll have a 3 year old and a 1-ish year old, like
Right,
a
right.
one and a quarter year. So it'll definitely be really nice to be able to, take them for that and kind of see that experience through, especially like my daughter who will be 3 at the time and will be like super like all into it at that point.
And I think one of the best things was, and it'll probably happen for you as well, is when they measure, and I think it's like 32 inches for something. It was like one of the Luigi's rocking cars when she
Yeah.
was able to go on that. And she looked at my face and we like high five. She's 3, and
Yeah.
she knew I'm able to go on this. Let's
Right.
go. And she was so excited to be on that one.
Yeah.
So
For sure. That's super cool. So that's cool. So you guys try to make it down once a year.
yep, yeah, give or take. Yep.
What's like your favorite do you have like a favorite attraction that's like a
Yeah.
must do for you?
Personally, I do. It's the Jungle Cruise.
Okay.
There's because
Of
the
course, the Jungle
experience
Cruiser,
is
of course. Yeah.
exactly, yes, yes. I'm very into that, like Tiki. And I'm not a Tiki person. I don't live my life that way. I like to go
Yeah.
to the Tiki bars. I like to go to Adventureland Day, and if I can, I haven't been to one.
Uh-huh.
I sort of have been to one, but not for the weekend. It's the Tiki Oasis. I actually got invited to go listen to the Skipper Marley speak at the one in Scottsdale, so which is about a half hour from my house, give or take. Um, just Jungle Cruise, it's a
Interesting.
different experience every single time. You know, you got a
Yeah.
different skipper. It could be really really good, or it could be like, I don't know. I've heard
Right,
those
right.
jokes, and there was nothing new, but it's still the sound of it, the smell of it, even though it's. I mean, I love it.
Yeah,
Just
no, it's great. I haven't been on it in a long time. Like the last 2 trips I've gone, I've skipped it, and I don't know why, but probably because it's
you're a
not my all-time
skipper.
favorite. I'm a straight up skipper. Um, but no, it's good. That's really good. What about like I'm assuming have you been to Disney World before?
I did. I got to go in December of 21.
Okay.
It was a work trip, so I'm working at a bank, and my clients are all in Florida.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah, they flew me out there. Was there for Sunday to Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday with doing work stuff. You know, going around to different places, parts of Florida,
Yeah.
visiting clients.
Right,
And
right.
on that Thursday, they were gonna surprise me with like a, something. And
Hmm.
one of the sales reps actually, took me to Disney World for. We got to go to 2 of the 4 parks. It was just a 1 day
Okay.
thing, which was
Okay.
amazing. Got
Yeah.
to go to Epcot and then Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
So yeah, that was cool. I got to go on the I went on the Jungle Cruise for sure at Magic Kingdom. That was fun.
Yeah.
So no, I did. Yeah, so I've only been for 1 day, 2 parks altogether. So not I did not get the full world experience.
Yeah, I mean that happens. That'll definitely happen, but because it's like there's so much more to do there when when you go to that park. It's so much bigger and just so much more like aggressive in your face and stuff. But that's really cool. Did you go on Haunted Mansion when you were in Magic Kingdom?
No, I only went on. Let's see, we went on Big Thunder Mountain. I think that's what it's called there too.
Mhm.
Jungle Cruise, and I think Space Mountain. So we were like very limited on the time there. We had to we headed back to Epcot to ride the Ratatouille. So I only went on 3 attractions while I was there.
Okay, that's totally cool. Um, yeah, so I guess, one of the things that you are fortunate about, living like closer to Disneyland as opposed to Disney World is that you get to experience the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay on the Haunted Mansion, which I feel like, if people haven't experienced, like people in Florida just don't know if they haven't been. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's such a cool to me it's like it almost outshines the original ride to me. I'm such a big like I really love that film. It's like Nightmare Before Christmas to me is just like one of those kind of quintessential
Yeah.
in between, in between Halloween, in between Christmas films you just kind of have to watch. And um, like being directed by Henry Selick and kind of one of those like real leap forwards in stop motion animation. It's just so much fun to see it. I feel like on that ride. So is that are you a fan of that? Is that something that you
I am.
like are into? Cool.
I am a fan of that. The Disney, they it's for longer now. So it's the
Yeah,
Halloween season starts September 1st now.
that's so
And then
insane.
they do all the Halloween up until October 31st. But that ride, the
Yeah,
overlay lasts
goes
till
to like mid January. Yeah,
mid-January.
mid January. I
Yeah.
think. Yep.
Yeah, no, the experience is awesome. The outside of it, just like the way they
Mhm.
bring that to life with the music and all the decorations and Jack just walking around. It's yeah, that whole area is just it's awesome
Yeah, it's
during that
super cool.
time.
And I love too how they do that, like that Disney, the gingerbread house, like every single year they add in a
Hmm.
new one. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep, yep.
Um, I think that's just super fun that they do that, and it's almost something where I almost wish they could bring that over to Magic Kingdom, because like now living in Baltimore, Magic Kingdom's kind of like by default my home park, because that's the one, like if we want to go,
Right.
it's a lot easier for us to fly down to Florida than it is to fly all the way across the country and get tickets to go to Disney World or Disneyland. But yeah, it's really cool. I just wish that, I sort of do wish that they were able to like bring it, across the country, because I think that a lot of people would really appreciate it. Um, but I'm just I'm not really sure why they wouldn't do that, but it's
Yeah, I
definitely a
don't
lot
know
of
why they
fun.
didn't. Did you ever? I know they do a gingerbread house every year at the Grand Floridian.
Yeah.
Have you
Hmm.
seen Decorating Disney on Disney
Yeah.
Plus?
My wife likes we watch it every year.
Yeah,
It's a lot of fun.
it's crazy how they do. At least for, I mean, at least for Disneyland, I know they have the Disney World over there too. The decorations come out that same night.
Oh my
Up,
gosh.
gone. Halloween's gone November 1st. You don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, it is like so much work.
Yeah,
I can't, I mean, that's really where it takes that whole like group of people to do it all. But yeah, the way they like put it together to decorate is uh I mean, it's like truly a work of art how they do it and get everything right and have it all prepared for like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that the backstage is much bigger than I would imagine. And also the resources and people that they have on
of
board are a lot
course.
more
Oh yeah,
vast, and
yeah,
all the
yeah.
processes in place to actually pull it off. But
I think they
it's really cool.
I think they only showed, how when you watch those home makeover shows, they only showed you the outside, the tip of the
Yeah.
iceberg, whereas like there's 100 more people working in the back on this one little area, so you don't get to see that in that. At least not the ones I watched. The
Yeah,
Decorating Disney.
exactly. Well, and I don't think unless you're like, really, really in on it, that they will ever like show you that aspect, because there has to be a
Right,
little bit of mystery behind it.
right, right.
For sure. Um, go ahead. What
when I
was I say?
when I went there, actually, so on Tuesday, so after we were done with work, I took an Uber to Disney World. This is even my first time entering the gates of Disney World.
Mhm.
I went right to Trader Sam's, went to the Polynesian, went to Trader Sam's,
Yes.
and so it just so happened my cousin was in town. I was like, well, let's meet up for a drink. Where do you
Mhm.
want to go? And I was like, Disney Springs. I was like, cool, that shouldn't be too far. Man, it took me two monorails and two buses because
Yeah.
and I'm a grown man. I wasn't lost, so like lost in New York, but I didn't know where I was going. So because it's like you said, it's so much bigger, and that was like an understatement because I think it's
Yeah.
almost the size of the city of Anaheim alone. That's
Oh my
just
gosh. Yeah. No,
Disney World.
it's insane. I mean,
Yeah,
like I think the stat is something along the lines of like 50 full Disneylands
yeah,
and DCAs could fit inside of all of Disney World property. I mean, it's truly remarkable, like just how big and expansive it is. But you are not disparaged by me by saying that you can get lost. Like I've never driven around there. We always just that's not true. I have driven there once. But whenever we go, we just stay on property and then we just take the buses or whatever. Cause I'm not trying to like get stressed out by trying to find parking and getting lost and this and that, the other thing there. So,
mhm.
yeah, no, there's no judgment from my end on that in the slightest.
It's like I'll eventually get to where I need to go. I'm not, but I was gonna stop at the Grand Floridian to check it out, but I saw the line for the monorail, and I'm like, I'm not gonna stop because I don't
Just
want to
gonna
get back
bail.
in this line to go somewhere else. Whereas the Polynesian had no line, so I
Right.
got on the monorail. Like next one that came, I boarded.
Yeah. The
So,
Polynesian's great. I've actually never been to Trader Sam's before. I really want to. I just haven't been able to. We just have. It's just never really been. It's like there's so much to freaking do there
yeah, yeah,
that it's just never. It's like really high up on our list, but we've just never been able to do it. And last time we were gonna go, we last time we went, we wanted to go, but we had our daughter with us, and you can't bring anyone under 21. So it
right,
just
right.
ended up not.
You had to
You
just
know.
sit outside if anything.
Yeah, we had to just like leave her outside and go in and drink, which
Well,
feels
yeah, yeah.
feels extraordinarily irresponsible for us to do that.
Yeah. Oh no! When I went to Trader, I had to sit outside because it was just so. I didn't want to wait an hour and a half to sit in the bar. I did wander around for a minute, and then I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll go sit outside and eat and have a drink or whatever. Um. So, but yeah, sitting inside is amazing.
Yeah. So let's just like totally shift gears. Are you like a big because we've talked about like tiki mugs and jungle cruise and stuff quite a bit. Are you like a big like tropical tiki mug kind of connoisseur, or tell me tell me about that.
It's funny. I wouldn't say connoisseur, but when I do see these new bugs coming out, like you said, people or these Disney adults that are always there, always getting
Yeah.
in the line and getting this. I have luckily gotten a couple of those like specialty mugs, just kind
Mm.
of like knowing people.
Yeah.
Um, I got, I have like six maybe or something like that, but the
Okay.
specialty ones were like I got the Jungle Cruise boat.
Oh, rad.
Um,
Yeah, that's a cool
yeah,
one.
yeah, and they're not cheap either.
No.
And,
Well, especially if you
and
have to like buy them aftermarket on eBay or something, like you were gonna get destroyed with markup.
Right. And luckily I didn't have to for that. And
Yeah.
then I got the Monstro whale that I was like, that's kind of
Yeah, yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Plus I got a Krakatoa pun. I have like I guess I have like six of them. So not a connoisseur, but I do kind of now when I go, I'll
Hmm.
get a different one. I'll get a new
Yeah.
one. You can order a drink and say, hey, I want this mug, but
Yeah.
this drink. Can you do it? And they're like,
Yeah.
of course
Yeah,
we can
yeah,
do it,
yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the shrunken head zombie one. Like that's one that I'd be super into if I had to get one.
I'll tell you that
Um,
that was the first one I ever got.
is that right?
And,
Okay.
and when you sit at the bar, they do miniature shows. So like if you get the Krakatoa punch,
Hmm.
because you ordered that drink, the window, the lava, the volcano will start erupting because you ordered that drink. So it was kind of all about you at that little moment.
That's so fun.
So I'm seeing all this in the bar and I'm like, man, where is the shrunken zombie head show? I don't get it. I got this specialty mug. Maybe there's not a show. I don't know. But my chair was slowly, sinking and
Oh shoot.
until I was like sitting in this chair, and I'm like, I think my chair is broken. I don't know. So
Yeah.
as I'm sitting there lower
You're
than
like
everybody,
too embarrassed to ask.
I was like, oh, what did I do to this chair?
Yeah.
And then the skipper behind the bar was like, he's got the curse of the shrunken zombie head. I'm
That's
like,
so
there's the
funny. There it
show. Oh
is. There's the
man.
stuff. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
it was a cool little experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You have the Congo Queen one. That is that the one you're talking about? The Jungle
I don't know if
Cruise.
it's yeah, it's because I think there was like two or three different versions. Mine's more like
Okay.
the brownish one because there was
Okay.
like a yellowish color one, and I don't maybe there's a third one. Mine's it has Congo Queen on it, and it's like that brown, it's
Yeah,
the
I think that
basic
might be the
one.
one I'm looking at.
It's the
You can get
basic
it for
one.
like $120 on eBay right now, which is
Yeah, because I bet you I don't know if it was the variant of it. It was more of like a yellow. I think that one's even
this
more.
one's more brown. Yeah.
Yeah, I
The
got the
yellow
brown one.
one, I found it and I lost it now. But yeah, no, it's kind of it's crazy. Like there's a Jack Skellington one that's going for like 3.99. It's
Yeah.
people are out of their minds. Um,
Luckily, I paid face value for both of those.
yeah, that's the way to do it. And you get a drink, which is like the best. The town that I grew up in California, it has a tiki bar out there, and Paige and I always make a point of going whenever we're visiting my family who still are out in the area. And it's just like it's kind of, I mean, eh, you basically get this great experience. It's a really cool
Mhm.
tiki bar and great drinks, but like not as expensive because you don't have that Disney markup.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's really fun. It's something that I'd like to get more into, like that island lifestyle, but I just need to find more tiki bars to go to, I suppose.
Yeah. I know there's a couple in Arizona. One of them's called Undertow.
Hmm.
I don't know how popular that is across the country, but I do know people in California know what that is because when they come to the Tiki Oasis, they talk about that's one of the events. Kind of, it's on your
Hmm.
own because you have to drive there. And then there's one. You ever go to Las Vegas?
I have never been to Las Vegas, no, but oddly enough, my in-laws are leaving there tomorrow morning, so maybe they can
Oh,
pick me up
okay.
something if you give me the name.
Yeah, there's a place called the Golden Tiki,
Okay.
and because I've listened to some other podcasts and the other co-host that for my show
Hmm.
talked about it, and actually because we have Patreon,
Yeah.
we call them our engineers. So
Yes. Yeah.
one of the guys he lives in Vegas, and
Uh-huh.
he also said he suggested it. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna be in Vegas. We should meet up for a couple of the drinks. And sure enough, yeah, he met up with us, and we got to
Okay.
enjoy a couple of the drinks at Golden Tiki, and
There you go.
there are some Disney ties to it. They have the shrunken heads, and
Uh-huh.
Walt Disney is one of the shrunken heads they
Oh
have on
my
the display.
gosh.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, that place
That's crazy.
it has birds at the top, so you're in Vegas, mind you. So they're
Hmm.
not saying Disney type things, but it looks like the birds from the Tiki Room.
That's
So
insane. I need to look up
yeah,
this Walt Shrunken Head because that's just the
yeah.
craziest thing I've ever heard. Um, yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, that's really, really funny. Oh, it looks like there's a if I Googled it, looks I found a picture of Bob Gurr, the Imagineer on there. Um, that's really cool. That's really, really, really cool.
And the Golden Tiki, you found Bob Gurr?
Yeah, and I just looked up Google. I just looked up the Golden Tiki Walt Disney Shrunken Head, and he showed up.
Okay. I heard that Bob Gurr was in there, but I did not, for some reason, did not see him. And I was looking. I went there twice. I went the second time I got to explore more of it, and there was actually this pirate themed room. So it's definitely not a Disney place, but it has like it feels like a Disney place.
It kind of like pulls a lot from Disney, it seems.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
think
really
so.
cool.
Especially with the Shrunken Head, there's definitely that right there. Walt Disney's already in there. So
Yeah, isn't there like a Trader Sam's in Disneyland, kind of by the Disneyland Hotel? Like,
it's
I mean,
actually
it's
it's in the middle of it. It's in the courtyard area of
right,
the
right, right,
Disney
right, right.
Hotel. Yep.
But it's certainly not like as good as the one in the Polynesian, right? Or is it just as good?
It's probably, I would say it's, I mean, I didn't get to sit inside at the Polynesian, so I can't really compare, but the outside is very similar.
Mhm.
Um, I guess I didn't do too much. I went there the one time at Walt Disney World, but I
Yeah,
do love the one at Disneyland. Whether you're inside or outside, you don't get the little shows, but
but you
when
still
you're
get like a
outside,
fun experience
oh,
of
very, yeah.
being a part of it.
Hmm.
Yeah, man, this is like taking a real left turn into like Tiki Land, and I'm all jacked up on wanting to get something now. Jeez, that's super fun. I've also never heard of this like Tiki Oasis thing you're talking about. What is it? I mean, it's like a convention conference. Like, what on earth is it even?
Exactly that. Yeah. So it's a convention, and so they do like different events at the pool. They do seminars. There's merchandise you can buy. So it's just a bunch of people getting together and getting wasted on tiki drinks and just listening to, I don't even know what the seminars are, except I did get to go to one. His name is,
Mhm.
Dr. Skipper Marley. He wrote the books. Um, what are they called? Oh man, I can't think what I have one of the versions of it. It's the Jungle Cruise stories. That's what it's called. Skipper stories. That's what it's
Got
called.
it. Okay.
And he actually he has like this Disney history that ties in with all like tiki stuff. So I got to go listen to him speak. It was about an hour, give or take, on the seminar.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, people just, like I said, just trying different tiki drinks, having pool parties,
Jeez.
after parties at people's rooms, and just it seems like a good old time.
That's crazy. I'm looking
Yeah.
at the itinerary for the 2023 one that was in San Diego, and like one of the seminars was growing a jungle at Disneyland, which is kind of interesting.
Hmm.
They have like, one by a tiki collector, underwater photography lessons, interesting stuff. Under the Sea with Disney. Yeah, it seems cool. I'm gonna have to look into this because I have never heard of this before. And like I'm recently just so one of the cool things about like me doing this show just like randomly with Paige not really, not being on it and having kind of no agenda, but just like we're maybe gonna talk about the Haunted Mansion, but maybe not.
Yeah.
Is I'm learning a ton of crazy stuff that I just didn't know before. And this is one of them. And now I'm like, I think my life is gonna be all about going to a tiki convention.
Yeah, there's one in Arizona and there's one in
Mm,
San Diego. I don't know if they're anywhere else, but the only ones I ever hear of is because I live in Gilbert, Arizona, so it's the Phoenix metro area still, but
okay.
Scottsdale is about 25, 30 minutes away. So it's still, I feel like it's my hometown when they come here.
Oh, of course, yeah.
It's just breaking away for the weekend is it's weird because I'd have to go stay there because if I wanted to drink a little, I'm not driving back home
Oh
each
my
night. So
gosh. Yeah,
no
why
way.
would you?
No, yeah. Um, so, but yeah, I was
That's
talking to
super
him. I
cool.
got to see his seminar. I think he was the last event they had. Everyone was like kind of checking out after that, going back home and whatnot. And I was talking to some of the people there, and they said they live in California, but overall it's cheaper. So Southern California, it's overall
Mhm.
cheaper to come to the Arizona Tiki Oasis than it is to go to the one in San Diego. I'm like, wow,
That
that's
tracks. California is like pretty expensive, which
yeah,
is why I don't live there any longer.
yeah.
Yeah, that's actually 100% true. Is why I don't live there any longer is because of how expensive it is. But no, this thing looks like an insane time. Like I'm just like all lost in the sauce in their photo galleries and their website and whatnot, and it just looks like yeah, it just looks like the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life is this convention.
And see that's
Um,
me. What you're doing now is kind of like when I was like, I love that. I love the idea, the concept, all that stuff. But that's not how I live my life. I don't walk around like I'm Skipper Cory when I'm wearing a you know Hawaiian shirts all day. There are some people that do that. I don't
yeah,
have that for any one thing. Like I like bowling. I like Disneyland.
okay.
I like podcasting. I just got my 3D printers. I'm all about that right now. I'm a
Yeah, that's
father.
rad.
I have all these different things that I'm into, and it's like not never just one thing. So
Not one thing is like
yeah.
defines your entire
Hmm.
personality. Are you into sports at all?
Yeah, yeah. Basketball, baseball.
Are
So
you so I'm
all
assuming you're a Diamondbacks fan?
I am. Yep.
How you holding up? How you holding up? You okay?
See, here's why I'm really okay is
Yeah.
we have a championship, and I'm weird about that. Like the Phoenix
Yeah.
Suns don't have one,
Hmm.
and when they went to the finals, I was devastated when they got out
Yeah.
because they don't have a championship. And it's almost like, are we ever going to get one?
Yeah.
Whereas the D-backs do have one,
Yep.
and it's in my lifetime. Well, the team was established in my lifetime, so
Was it 2001 was when they
right.
got it?
They
Yeah.
got it in '01. Yep.
Yeah.
And I do have one of my good friends who lives in Texas. He's a Rangers fan, so
Yeah.
it's a weird bittersweet thing. I didn't want to lose, of course,
No, of
but
course not.
they have one, and it's he
It
was
was almost like
happy.
they were the least offensive team to lose to.
Right. We should have been there in the first place. We're on borrowed time the whole time, but we
Yeah.
just you know I'm just glad that the Astros and the Dodgers. Sorry if you're a fan of one of those teams, but
Yeah.
that didn't make it.
Yeah, I don't know if you can tell, but like right above my head here, I have a an etch wine bottle, and it has the San Francisco Giants logo on it. I'm a
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Giants
yeah. There
fan.
you go.
And so the reason I even asked about sports to begin with, is because I have one of the giveaways this year at the San Francisco Giants game was a the announcers Mike Krukow and Dwayne Kuiper was their Tiki mugs,
Yep.
and you like could go and either get one or the other. And so I wasn't fortunate enough to be able to go to that game, so I just ended up buying both on eBay, and they're
Oh, okay.
very proudly sitting in my basement with all my other like sports memorabilia stuff. They're like, I have to get those. Like, I cannot pass up getting tiki mugs of baseball announcers. That's just like the coolest thing in the world.
Right. Yep. My co-host of All Aboard, he's a big Giants fan.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he went to that game. I definitely saw that all over,
Okay.
Instagram, the
Yeah.
Tiki and the announcers. I
Yeah.
think that would have been awesome to get that.
Yeah. I
Uh,
also got their Hawaiian shirt. They did a Hawaiian shirt giveaway too. And the shirt was actually designed by Jared Mariyama, who we interviewed him on the podcast about a year ago. He's a Disney artist. And he lives in Southern California, but he does like all the Disney baby books. So, okay, all those really cutesy kind of like Disney art. He does all of that kind of stuff. And you'd recognize it if you saw it for sure. But
okay.
anyway, he designed I got wind that he designed some shirts, some Hawaiian shirts for a giveaway. And so I messaged him. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna go get these like right now. I know I'm in Baltimore, but I'm gonna get it on eBay and I'm gonna make sure that I have your stuff.
Yeah.
And it's really fun. Like I'm not gonna wear it every day, of course. But it's it's pretty darn cool. So it's like tiki mugs and Hawaiian shirts in like the exact same series. I think it was cost me a lot of money for the time
Yeah.
to like buy those things resale, but it was worth it.
Right. Yeah. No, those things. I used to do only bobbleheads, but I'm glad they're kind of getting away, not really away from it, but they're adding more to it because
Expanding into more stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
bobbleheads are. I mean, I used to collect them. I used to go to all those games. Not all of them, but I used to like going to those.
Mhm.
Now it's like I don't care about a bobblehead. I
Yeah, it
got
just
into the whole
depends.
vinylmation thing. So I was even selling some of my bobbleheads to get those little Disney 3-inch vinylmations.
Yeah, those are the ones that were like all shaped like Mickey Mouse, but they were all
Right.
different characters, right?
Exactly. Yeah. They didn't hold it like the Disney pins probably never going to go away. Whereas vinylmations kind of phased out, which I'm still really
Yeah.
into them. It's just not a big thing like it used to be.
Right, right. Yeah, I remember when those were out. They were always a little weird for me. I never
Yeah.
bought any, I don't think. Um,
You should see my
yeah.
office at work. I'll have to probably send you a picture. I have tons of them, and I actually bought a shelf for work for those things.
Yeah.
And people walk into my office like, "Why do you have so many of these?" I'm like, "I still
What
have
is
like
going on in here?
30
How
or
many do you
40
have?
more at home."
How many do you think you have in
um,
your in total?
maybe 120. So like,
Whoa.
there are people that have like thousands of them. So I'm not like
Yeah.
that crazy, but like I
Yeah.
am. Like I said, at work, I'm the crazy Disney guy or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
but
insane. I mean, not insane. I'm not saying in a disparaging way. It's funny. It's like people that like collect pop figures that like their entire walls are just like lined with pop figures. Like I have a small handful of them, not as many
I'm
as a
I'm
lot
the
of
same
people,
as
but
you. Yeah,
yeah,
mine are like Disney. I got some Mando ones. I got the Big Lebowski one. Just like I
yeah,
said, all
yeah.
different types. It's not just one
Right,
genre, whatever you want to call it, or one type.
right. I have like a handful of Star Wars ones that I have because I'm a huge Star Wars fan, of course. So I have them kind of like lining up on my bookshelf, like up on the ceiling there. But it's like only it's not like all of them. Like I'm not a completist because if I would be, I'd be broke.
Yeah.
So I just collect ones that I really like and just kind of like leave them at that. But
I'm the same. Yep.
yeah, that's really cool. Do they have any like I'm assuming did Final Nation have like stuff for the rides like Jungle Cruise or
Those
Haunted
are my
Mansion or anything like that?
the attraction series were my
Yeah.
are my favorite ones, and I do have. Let's see, I have the elephant one for the Jungle Cruise. I have the Skipper. Don't know if I have any more Jungle Cruise ones, but I have at least the two
Okay.
of the Jungle Cruise ones.
I'm looking at them right now. These are pretty cool, actually. Oh,
Yeah,
the one with like the elephant like shooting water up in the sky, that
it's like
one.
green. Mostly it's green, and it has the elephant like right in the middle of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
I
man,
got that one.
they're so weird. Just
Again, if
so
you look, yeah,
weird.
I can see it in the reflection. I just saw
Oh
it.
yeah. I have to be like, yeah, I can. So yeah, I'm
I
like
can
looking
see
at
it.
them. I see the skipper with the glasses and stuff.
Yeah, I have him. Yep.
And then they even made pins out of them. That's great. That's so funny.
I got a
Yeah.
few pins as well at work. Like I'm not big into pin trading, but I'll do it with the
Mhm.
kids sometimes when we go to the parks. But
Yeah.
I did end up buying some Jungle Cruise pins, and I
Uh-huh.
just hang them beneath my. I have a Jungle Cruise map on my wall. I have a Jungle Cruise
Okay.
poster
Jeez.
and a Jungle Cruise.
Why on earth did I even ask you to talk about Haunted Mansion? What's
Because
wrong? What's
it's
wrong?
Halloween time, you know. It's I know it's past it, but still, that's what
Right.
we do on the show. We'll talk about an attraction, and then that'll lead to other
It just
attractions,
all
and it's
like
like
kind of
we're
goes
still.
off to whatever.
It really does, and
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm
I'm into
fine
that
with
though.
that. So
I'm super into that kind of like little bit chaotic lifestyle.
yeah.
Um what is there anything else you collect while we're on the topic?
Now you know what's funny. I'm gonna start making my own like 3D stuff. You brought up the Funko Pops. I have
Yeah.
three Tombstone ones because I'm from Arizona and I love the movie. I've seen it a million times.
Okay.
I have three of the Doc Holidays, just him specifically from Tombstone. Three different versions of him,
Hmm.
and I
Carry on.
just
I'm into
made
it.
I just made myself a Back to the Future clock, which I'll send you an image of it.
Yeah, for
It came out
sure.
so awesome on the 3D printer, but I need room for it at my office
Yeah.
because it's full. So I'm going to make three Funko Pop a wall holder. You put them on the wall and you put your Funko Pops in there. So I'll put those on the wall, my
Mm-hmm.
Tombstone ones, just so that I have room for my Back to the Future clock on my
That's
desk.
super fun. That's
So
so funny.
so this 3D printer is going to come in handy. That's my new hobby. It's if it works right for you, then it's fun. You just like, oh, I can make this, I can make that. And
Yeah, of course.
speaking of sports, a buddy of mine at work is a St. Louis Cardinals fan. He's like,
Okay.
hey, if I buy the filament for you, will you just make me that and you just keep the rest of it? And he bought me the red filament. So I'm going to
Okay.
make him that. And then I get to keep the spool and make whatever I want after that. I was like, hey, cool, man. I'll do that for you.
That's a good get. That's a good
Yeah.
situation for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's super
So,
cool. I started going through so when the Disney World 50th anniversary, rolled around. It was right before my daughter was born, and so we like it was around the time that McDonald's put out the 50th toys that they had, like the little backdrops and stuff. And so we just kind of went on a mission to just like straight up get all of them. I think I'm missing like one or two, but we were just like, we're just gonna get all of them and just go
yeah.
for it. So we ended up like my parents were getting them, like my in-laws were getting them, my wife and I were getting them, and we wouldn't like just like go get a Happy Meal. We'd like just go in and be like, what do you have? And you can buy them for like $1.50 or whatever, just get the toy. So we were doing that and we ended up collecting almost all of them. And my daughter, like, she has like a big bucket full of them. I think there might have even just been 50 toys, frankly. But she had a big bucket full of them, and she like every day she like will pull them out and dump them on the floor and play with them. And she, like actually today I took her out like she and my son on a drive because I needed to like get them to sleep for the love of God. I needed to get them to
Yeah.
sleep, and she like dumped out her box and asked if she could take one of the toys with her. So she still plays with them. It was definitely a good investment on that point. But they have these new ones, the 100 Years of Magic McDonald's toys, and they have like I think 65 of them or something like that, and they're all like Disney, Pixar, Marvel, and Star Wars characters. But the problem is that they are actually the problem is that they're like blind boxes. And
Mhm.
so I got like four of them today. I spent like, I don't know, like $6 and I bought four different toys. Which would have been, eight in total. And like three of four of them were exactly the same.
Oh no.
So I was kind of annoyed that they were blind boxes, you know? Um, Yeah, that was kind of a shame that that was the case, but it's still kind of fun to like go out and try to like collect things and try to like, just try to snag certain things or whatever.
And that's how the vinyl mations were for a while, like at the parks. It's like you go to this box, you knew you were going to get at least one of the 12 per category, whatever they want to call it, per series, I should say.
Yeah.
And sometimes you would get duplicates and you're like, oh, now I got to trade somebody
Yeah,
or sell
frick.
this one.
I got a project.
It took me like 4 or 5 tries to get my Tower of Terror one, but I finally
Okay.
got it, but I got some duplicates on the way and
Yeah, of
you could
course.
do trading and stuff. So you should never have a duplicate unless you like some people who have like these expensive ones that are duplicate that are worth something, but I don't mine. I have all of mine are all different. Mine are not any more duplicates anyway.
Do you like keep them in the box? Are you like a purist about it, or do you take them out and like look at them?
I take them out and I everything. The only one I have in the box as far as items like that is my
Hmm.
Big Lebowski Funko Pop. And the only reason why is because the backdrop of that case, it's a different kind of case too. It's not the normal
I'm
what
looking
you
up
would
right
get them.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the only reason why I keep him in the case. Other than that, I take everything out. I want to be able to touch it if
Is it the one with him with like the sunglasses on?
Yeah, he's got the sunglasses. There's
And it like reflects the rug, that
mm-hmm,
one? Yeah,
He got
that's a
he's
good
got a
one. That's
little
cool.
drink in his hand.
Yeah, a little white
You know,
Russian just doing it
yeah,
up. That's
yep.
super funny.
And I actually
Yep.
bought this Big Lebowski kit years ago, and it came with the mug, it came with the rug, it came with a dude patch. What else did it come with? The little certificate they had on the wall in the Big Lebowski's office. So all these different things, and I was able to put the rug underneath that display, and then the
Yeah.
mug next to it. So it's like a little thing now.
It's like a little
And
Lebowski shrine or something like
exactly. Yep.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super funny. One of my friends is a gosh, I don't remember what it's called. It's kind of like a joke religion. I think it's called like Dudeism or something.
Mm.
And he's like an ordained minister for it. Yeah. So it's Dudeism. And he is an ordained yeah, he's an ordained minister, and their slogan is just take it easy, mankind. And it's like, come and join the slowest growing religion in the world, Dudeism, an ancient philosophy that preaches none, preachiness, practice as little as possible, and above all, I lost my train of thought there. That's literally what it says. So it's really, really funny. The website's so crude. It looks like a 90s website, but
I'll have to check that out.
it's
That's
freaking
funny.
funny. Yeah. And the dude like literally told me, because he has like I was hanging out with him and he showed me like on his computer, it has like the little fish, like that old like fish logo or
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
And it says Dudeism in it, or Dudism or whatever. I don't know, Dudism, whatever. And it has sunglasses on. I'm like, can you please explain to me what on earth is going on there? And like I've watched The Big Lebowski probably 60, 70 times. Like it's one of
Yeah,
my
yeah.
favorite films.
Hmm.
But he like showed me a picture of a certificate, certification of ordination, the Church of the Latter-day Dude. And I'm like, wow, that's insane. But yeah, if you wanted to do that, you could definitely become an ordained minister with them
That's
for
funny.
the
Yeah.
for the price of $35. So,
It's so funny. Whenever I go out, I'll order a white Russian at places.
yeah.
Like, why do you like those so much? I'm like, A, they're good, and B, I'm like the dude, man.
Yeah, do you know anything about the Coen brothers?
That's my drink.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny. That's so
Uh,
freaking funny.
I sent you a
Yeah.
picture just now of that clock that I like. I literally just finished it today.
Oh, cool,
So
cool, cool. Let me
yeah.
see. Let me pull that up. Why is my Wi-Fi being slow? Um, oh, rad. Yeah, that's cool. And you have like the little mug next to it.
Yeah, I made that with a sublimation. I made that a couple years ago, even, and I wanted to. I sent it to some friends, like just for sizing purposes, like
Wait, the
what,
mug?
how big this thing. I made that mug too, yeah,
Oh, how did you
with
make
the
it?
sublimation. So it's probably what you normally would buy at a store. So it's a process that turns that ink into like a gas that just like burns it onto the mug or any item you want that is actually sublimated.
Okay.
So that one I made with the flux capacitor being the negative
Yeah.
space. I don't know if
Yeah.
you can see this. I know this is bad podcasting, but I have a tattoo here. I have the flux capacitor on my tattoo.
Okay, so you're like
Um,
really like deep into I'm actually taking this photo. I'm gonna put as many of these photos as I can in show notes. So you're like really deep in Back to the Future
I
then, huh?
am, yeah, oh yeah.
That's super cool.
Like there
That's
was this
funny.
quiz I was doing one night, and I did
Hmm.
not know. I wasn't the one reading the quiz. So it was my wife reading it to me, and I did not know that there were multiple choice I was just answering until one of them I was like, oh man, I'm not really sure. And she's like, well, it's multiple choice. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. Give that to me. And of course, I didn't get any of them wrong, but
Yeah,
so yeah,
that's funny. Yeah, no, it's a good film. I it was kind of one that I sort of came late to the party to. I don't know why. I just never really like of all the Robert Zemeckis films, I was more like a, Who Framed Roger Rabbit was like the film that from him that I love the most. And like I'm not trying to, I wasn't like a total cinephile. Like I didn't know his entire filmography when I was, watching these films, but
yeah, yeah.
I was always like leaned way more toward like the Who Framed Roger Rabbit aspect of his films. But no, I mean they're really Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3, I think are equally kind of good in their own right.
It's funny you
Um,
mentioned that because I'd say out of all the trivia that I've ever read on IMDb, Who Framed Roger Rabbit has the best. If you read the trivia on it, it's like
yeah.
some of the greatest stuff that you're going to read. And one of them was Bob Hoskins' son. I don't know if you know
Okay.
about this. He was mad
Mhm.
at him for about 2 weeks after he'd seen the movie.
Okay.
And finally, Bob Hoskins asked him, why are you so, what has happened? What did I do to you? He says, you got a chance to meet Mickey Mouse and you didn't introduce me.
All
I
right,
was, or
kid.
I don't know if it was Mickey Mouse or Bugs Bunny or whatever. If it was both, either way, he got a chance to meet these characters
Mhm.
and didn't introduce his son to them. So
Wow,
I
it
was like,
sounds
wow.
sounds kind of dumb.
Yeah, he was probably a kid. I don't know. It was in the
Yeah,
'80s,
yeah. I know. I'm
So
just joking. I actually think about Back to the Future 2 once a day. Like I'm not
yeah,
joking. That movie pops into my head once a day because I think like how much better my life would be if I had that sports almanac book that Biff has. Um,
you can
you
buy it.
know, I like what's up?
You can actually buy it on Amazon. I bought one on
That doesn't
Amazon.
do me any good. I want one
I
that's
know, I
like
know.
50 years in the future.
Exactly right.
Um, I'll make like little sports bets here and there. Like I'm not a gambler at all, but like I'll throw like $1 or something like that, and
Yeah.
like do these huge, odds, like 3,000 plus odds or whatever, 7,500 or something like that, to try to like put $1 down and make $200.
Yep.
And I like talk to my friend of mine, and I'll be like, man, if I just had that book, man, I'd be set for life.
Set.
I
Exactly.
wouldn't become like a big bad, but I would just sort of, just have a trick up my sleeve all the time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I'm the
super
same
funny.
way. I'm the same way. And obviously, I mean, with this tattoo, and I have this train set over here too. You can't see it in the video here. Um, I'm gonna add some Back to the Future stuff to this train set. That's another one of my hobbies. I have so many things.
Yeah, no, I'm
Um,
into it. This is fun, man. Yeah, it's cool.
and I didn't realize how much into trains I was until I started thinking about it. I got my show. There's Back to the Future. There's a
Yeah.
train in Tombstone, so I'll say that. There's a couple of pivotal scenes that deal with trains.
Uh-huh.
And then what's going to sound funny is this train set that I have here. I had it in my closet for about 2 years. It's one of those Lionel old train sets that I got from my aunt and uncle. And one day, my one of my kids was like, "Hey, can we play with that train? It's just in the closet doing nothing." I'm like, fine, we'll break it out." And so from that stemmed me to buy a bunch of tracks, a bunch of 3D printed items, and just grass, all this stuff that I built for this train. And then that led me to buy my 3D printer so I can make my own stuff instead of having to keep buying it. So one
Right,
little
right.
interaction with my son one morning led to all these different things. And I'm like, it's yeah,
That's cool. So I mean, there's a theme, right? So you've got like, the train Back to the Future, especially with the third one. There's a train's kind of an integral part of that.
exactly.
Robert Zemeckis, the Polar Express,
Yep.
All Aboard podcast, the train in
Yep.
Disney. Yeah, it's like
Exactly.
a real through line there, man. I'm
Yeah.
just like I'm just like digging and digging and kind of finding out like what the actual motivation is, and it's trains the whole time.
Trains the whole time. Oh yeah.
That's freaking awesome. That's super cool. Um, yeah, that's great, man. So, do you guys have we may have talked about this, but do you guys have your next Disney trip planned out yet, or?
It's like in the early stages. We're gonna buy the tickets soon. Go probably January or February. February.
Hmm,
And then like I said, do one day of Disney and then try to do one day of like Legoland because we never been there. The kids want to go.
okay.
I'm not really a big fan of Lego, so if you want to say there's one hobby that I don't have, it's Legos. I
Yeah,
don't have like the interest, but my kids love them, and
yeah,
so does my wife. So of course, I'm all in to go there, and you know,
yeah. I have like this whole thing about Legos. So I think Legos are fun and I like them, but I don't want them.
yeah,
So like I want to build them, but once they're built, I don't want them anymore. Like I just want it to go away, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out. I've looked into it, and there's a website that does it, and I think it's like a really interesting concept. And I think that the overhead and the margins are awful. But I think that if you can like come up with some kind of a way to have a really solid system for like renting Legos, that'd be amazing, right? So like you have like the $850 Millennium Falcon set, and you can rent it for like $50, or you can rent it for like $40. Have it shipped to your house. You can build it, do whatever you want to do with it, and then send it back when you're done. There's got to be a way to do that like allows for all the pieces to stay where they need to stay and go back to where they need to go to, or like you can send it back, and then it's someone's job who should frankly be getting paid $1 million to like take it apart and put all the pieces in the right spot. But that just seems like my dream situation is to be able to rent Legos because I want them.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to build them, but I don't want to be responsible for them afterward.
Right. It's like a puzzle. You gotta like get the glue and hold them
Yeah, and
together,
it's
or
like,
they're
oh,
gonna
now I
break.
got. It's like now what do I do with it? Like
Yeah.
I made a comment one year about how it was Christmas morning a couple of years ago, and I made a comment about, man, if I just had Legos right now, I'd be pretty happy. And I'm like a full grown man saying this, and I'm just thinking like, wouldn't it be nice just sit on the ground and just build something real quick? So the next year I get like a small, like one of those small like boxes of something, and I think my in-laws or someone got it for me, and it was great. I was really excited. It was cool. This was like maybe 3 years ago or 2 years ago or whatever, and I build it, and I'm like, okay, now what do I do?
Yeah.
I got to make sure all the pieces stay in the proper spaces, and I can't like I don't have like a collection, so I can't like take it apart and put it somewhere. Like it's just useless to me now. So
Yeah. I think for me, it's more I don't have a. I'm not a master builder, so it's like I try to, even if I follow the directions, it's like this piece goes here in this order, and
okay,
it'll still
yeah,
fall apart. And I got halfway through, not even halfway, maybe a quarter way through this like Moana set for with my daughter, and I was
yeah,
like, I can't even. So, and that was not long ago. And of course,
yeah,
I've stepped on a million too many. So it's
yeah.
there's that as well.
Yeah, I have
And
like this weird OCD kind of mentality where I just if it's not all perfect, if it's not all like put together right and organized the proper way, then I just have all this just horrendous anxiety of
yeah,
okay, well, great. Now what am I supposed to do? Um,
yeah,
so I've yet to find someone who actually has like a Lego rental service, but I think like I
yeah,
mean there's like some websites like Linda Brick, but they're all really, really bad websites. So I feel like if someone could crack that code, it would be a really lucrative opportunity and a really interesting idea.
yeah. There you go. That's for you.
I know. I mean, someone's gonna now that I've like put it out in the world, someone's gonna
Oh yeah.
steal it, but it still seems like it'd be kind of fun.
You gotta go patent the idea. So you
I
just
know.
make the money, but they do it.
Yeah, TM, TM, TM.
Yeah.
Well, that's super cool, man. Well, listen, I don't, I don't know if there's much more to say about like the Haunted Mansion. I feel like we really kind of went in the direction of
Yeah. I
Tiki
think
and
that's
Jungle Cruise, which is fine. I'm all for that, but is there anything else like going on, kind of in your world? Well, I know you obviously have this new, um, this new Beyond the Railroad show that you're doing. Is there anything beyond that you like wanted to talk about or bring up or throw out there or anything like that?
no, that was it. Just the new show, new podcast battle. Hope everyone comes back for that. I might just keep it in March.
I'll
Be
be
the host
back.
of it, and just
We'll be back.
anyone,
Yeah.
yeah, come back, and
All right.
yeah, that'll be fun. So
Yeah, no, I'm stoked about it, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun to be back on there and see if we can maybe make it to the finals this time around. Because
right,
we're just man, we were so
yeah.
close. We were like so close.
Yeah, there's some that were so close that were just off by one. I'm like, you win by one. That's how it is. Not like a percentage or anything. It's 149 votes to 148. It's like
Yeah,
you made it to the second round. It's
that's just the way it
yeah,
goes, you
you don't got
know.
to win by two or anything like that. So
Yeah, I'm just by one. That's all you need.
yep,
Um, well, listen, man, thank you so much for coming on. We've been kind of going for a little bit now, and I
oh
know
for
it's getting
sure.
kind
Yeah,
of
no
late for
problem.
everybody, but I just want to say thank you, and it's been a lot of fun having you on.
You too, man.
Sure to promote your stuff. I'll link you up in the show notes. And yeah, thanks again.
For sure, man. Hey, have a good night, man. Thank you.
Well, I just want to say thank you again to everyone for listening to the show. And we also want to just say if you are a fan of the show, giving us a kind review or rating on Apple Podcast or wherever you hear your podcast would really certainly go a long way for us, and we would definitely appreciate that. Thank you also to our sponsors, NeoSaber and Deep Cut, for supporting the show and being such fantastic sponsors. You can check out their website and get 10% off your first order using the code TPA10 at checkout. Again, just go ahead and check out those websites in the show notes. You can hop on over there with 10% off using the code TPA10 at checkout. We're going to be actually taking the entire month of December off of the show for a little bit of family time and rest and just relaxing. And we'll be right back to it in January. Paige, of course, is going to be back for us with us then. And we really look forward to kind of starting the year fresh and having we have some new ideas, some new takes, some new things we want to pull together for the show. So we really, are excited about that and are super excited about the community we've built here and everything that's come with that. Thank you again so much for listening, and we'll be back next week with another great guest and more fun information and another great episode, I hope. Until then, we will catch you next time.